But sometimes that pain just be so bad that you don't know what to do with it. I'm speaking to the truth seekers. I'm speaking to the truth tellers. I truly love what I do. And the truth is, you cannot tap into your power when you're afraid of everything. I don't have to look like you. I don't have to have been through what you've been through to understand you, to understand how you're feeling. I have to be willing to listen to you. Hey there. Welcome to episode 1 of Living in the Light. For those of you who don't know me, I am Denika Carothers, and I will be your host for Living in the Light. Professionally, I am an intuitive life coach, and I work with you at the soul level to bring healing to the root of childhood, mental, and emotional trauma and wounds. One of the things that I've discovered in my 30 plus years of working with clients and my 52 plus years of being here on this earth is that life is so expansive. And one of the challenges that a lot of people experience in terms of becoming all that they can be, becoming the greatest version of themselves, one of the challenges that is experienced in being able to effect this is limiting belief systems. Now, our thought processes, our belief systems come from our experiences, from our cultures, and from our conditioning. When we come into this world, we come as a clean slate. We come blank. And then we are influenced. And then we are conditioned. And then we are programmed. And our beliefs and our thoughts are as a direct result of the things that we have been taught, the things that we have experienced, the things that we have been exposed to. But you know, when you are on a particular soul journey, when you are here for a particular reason and purpose, which we all are, there comes a time in your life where it's important that you begin to question what you consider to be truth. You see, metaphysics, which a lot of people in the religious sects have a problem with, metaphysics is the wisdom of the ages. Metaphysics has been around for a long, long time. Life is multi-dimensional. Life is not one thing. You go into a clothing store, there are many things that you can choose from. And whilst one thing might not be a particular person's taste, that might be the exact thing for somebody else. And one of the things that we experience in this life, a disconnect in, one of the biggest downfalls in this life is judgment. See, let me give you a little bit background on me. I grew up in the church. I grew up in religion. I grew up in the Bahamas. That is predominantly Christian. We don't even have the exposure of different religions. The different religion that we say in the Bahamas is Jehovah's Witness, right? I guess that's a Bahamian joke, right? But as a child, I questioned a lot of things. But because of the culture in which I grew up in, you were not allowed to question out loud, or you would have been missing some teeth, right? Or been knocked unconscious for a couple of minutes. We weren't given the liberty to be able to question, but as a child, I had a lot of questions. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I really remember as a child about the disconnect in my relationship with my father is I was always that why girl. I would always ask why. My grandfather said that girls don't whistle. I wanted to know why. Why can boys whistle and girls not whistle? Didn't make any sense to me. His answer didn't make any sense to me, so I continued to whistle. But my father would always respond, why is a crooked letter, whenever I would ask why. And so as a child, I was forced to seek answers from within and from the greater aspect of existence. At that time, I called it God. Now it's God, it's spirit, it's source energy, it's infinite intelligence. Because, you know, the same way people call me Denika, they call me Denny, they call me Nika, they call me Nika Lynn, they call me D, right? There are many different ways that you can address a particular energy. And so I'm going to talk a lot about energy in this series, Living in the Light. But one of the biggest disconnects is judgment, because our beliefs and our thoughts are based on our conditioning and our culture. Whatever we believe becomes truth for us. Whatever is truth for us, we live our life according to that. But because you have a particular truth about something, it doesn't mean that it is the truth, even though it may be your truth. And it's okay for you to live by what is truth for you. But the challenge and the disconnect comes when you try to apply your truth to everybody else. One of the biggest challenges that parents have, because you try to be the dictator in your child's life. But if we believe what the scripture says when it says that we were created to dominate, which means that we were not, as humankind, created to be dominated. And so it's okay for you to live your life a particular way. But that's the biggest problem that my father and I had, because he tried to get me to align with what he wanted me to do. And I was in total opposition. Not even just in the natural, my soul was in total opposition to what it was that he was trying to create me to be, because my soul came here for a particular purpose and I have to align with the purpose of my soul. So do you. And so it's very interesting. You know, I had a conversation yesterday with someone who I consider to be a soul sister. It's a, you know, our connection is a divine connection. And both of us were very aware of that when we initially met. And in our conversation, we were sharing some things. She actually called me to confirm some things that had just come out of my morning meditation. And she said to me, she said, you know, I know that you're not really into the Bible, and da da da. And she went on to say some other things. And so I just paused, you know, but I paid attention to what she said. And so when she was finished, I said to her, I said, you know, it's very interesting how people perceive something and then they take that as their truth. I said, you said, that I'm not really into the Bible. I said, which is not true. I said, I'm into scripture. As a matter of fact, I had just done some reflection on scripture yesterday morning after she had said that, right? She said, well, just like based on your conversations, I didn't think that the Bible was your thing. I said, let me tell you what I am anti. I am anti-Bible thumper. I am anti having a conversation with everything and everybody, and the Bible is the main part of the conversation. I said, and I am anti people using the Bible to control people and to decide what other people should do. Because my understanding of scripture, and I like to say scripture because the Bible has been rewritten, retranslated, things have been omitted. And I believe that if things can be omitted, then things can be inserted. And so I love the particular portion of scripture that says, study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman needing not to be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth. So if I have to rightly divide something to ascertain what is truth, then is it possible that there's untruth in there? And that's why I'm encouraged to rightly divide the word of truth. What is truth? And what is so powerful about that for me is because the word is powerful, but not the word, the Bible. The word that we speak. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. And every word that we speak is our God connection. It is not the Bible. In the beginning was not that written text. It was the word. And so what you speak out of your tongue is so key because it is your power. It is the power with which you create. It is the power with which you create your reality. It is the power with which you create your beliefs. It is the power with which you create your truth. And so on the other side of this conversation with her, she was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. But see, you don't realize things about people when you just sit in judgment and are not willing to have a conversation. And so even today, I was speaking with a client because I'm offering soul readings for the first 11 days in 2021, which is what Spirit mandated me to do. Because we all have questions. And there's another portion of scripture that says, we have not because we ask not, but if we ask, it shall be given. If we seek, we shall find. And if we knock, the door shall be open unto us. So there is cause for you to sometimes seek for clarity, seek for understanding, seek for wisdom. And so I had reached out to a past client of mine who, was very vocal in her appreciation of how I had helped her at a particular stage in her life, had helped her and her significant other. And so I reached out to her, asking her to just share this information, because I appreciate that there are a lot of people in the beginning of this year who have some questions. 2020 was a difficult year for so many of us. I was included in that. But on the other side of 2020, there are very specific lessons that we are mandated to learn, to connect to. And so, when I sent her the information, because I call it soul reading, she told me that she couldn't share it because of her faith. And so I said, well, I'm curious, how does your faith conflict with this? And she said, well, anything that's psychic, futuristic, or predictions are against her faith. And I said, I wanted to have a conversation with her, but she didn't answer the phone, because I don't like having communication in text, because sometimes the energy gets mistranslated. But I said to her, you're judging what you don't know. Because never in anything did I say anything about futuristic, did I say predictions, or did I say psychic. But when I finished that with her, I'm a firm believer that every person that comes across your path comes across for a purpose, right? And purpose is not always what you may think in terms of your thoughts or your emotions. But it's very important for me personally to identify why every person comes across my path, because I believe that everything is divine, and I believe that everything is purposeful. And so, as I sat with that, I said, it's really interesting where I'm starting the first episode of Living in the Light today, because, this is one of the oppositions and the discomforts that I have with religion. And, this is living in the light, so I'm going to be living in my light. I'm going to be living in my truth, and hopefully help other people, because I'm a provoker of thought. I like to provoke people to think on a different level. Think for yourself. Don't think the thoughts that you have been conditioned with, programmed with, from your cultures and your experiences and your conditioning, right? And so as I sat in reflection with that transmission through text message, I said, this is my problem with religion. This is my problem with religiosity. Because if you think about religion, it is truly a conditioning. Most people live in a realm of religion, not in a realm of relationship with the divine. And what was very interesting for me as I sat in reflection is, even in religion, I grew up in religion. Let me say it again. I grew up in religion. I grew up in church. And I remember very specifically when prophets were coming to the island to be at a church, the people flooded the church because they want a word from the prophet. They want to know about their future. They want some questions answered. They want clarity in their life. So it's okay if the person has the title prophet, but not psychic. It's the same gift. Intuitive, psychic, prophet, seer. It's the same gift. And there's nothing wrong with the gift. All good and perfect gifts come from God. It's nothing wrong with the gift. It's how you use the gift that makes it right or wrong, good or bad. And I use a lot of air quotes when I say those words, because everything for me is relative, right? It's how you see it. The blessing and the curse is the exact same thing. It's how you see it, how you perceive it, that makes it one or the other for you. The psychic and the prophet is the same thing. It's how you see it that makes it blessing or curse for you. It's the same gift. But I know of many prophets who have manipulated their gift. And yes, there are psychics who have manipulated their gift. But there are also psychics who use their gift for good, as there are prophets who use their gift for good. But when you stand in judgment of another, and for those people who are Bible believers, the Bible talks about judge ye not, lest ye be judged also, right? We are not to judge. Every individual, every soul walking the face of the earth is here for a specific purpose. And their journey encompasses specific experiences and specific things. Who am I to sit in judgment of somebody else's process? Who are you to sit in judgment of somebody else's process? Every soul has incarnated here very intentionally and specifically for a particular purpose for their soul. If you can support someone in their process, then by all means do that. But if you're not supportive, then your opinion is not valid in somebody's life. Your opinion might be valid for you, I had to have this conversation with my daughter a couple of years ago. Your opinion is not valid or relevant in other people's lives, right? And so we all get to live our life journey, our soul journey, in the way that fits us. And if you can support someone else, then you do that. And I'm a firm believer that your purpose should be on display for others to be able to see you and to benefit from your gifts if your gifts are beneficial to them. But the same way some people like Macy's and some people prefer Ross. Nobody gets to judge a person for what they choose to be beneficial to them. And so as I said to you, I am all about helping people to heal on the soul level, both mentally and emotionally. And so when you begin the process of healing, it is really important that first and foremost, you be honest about where you are. You have to be honest about what is the pain that plagues you and what are your thoughts about it. What is your thinking about it? What are your beliefs about it? Because your thoughts and your beliefs translate into your experiences. And then secondly, it's really important that you expect happiness, that you expect success, and you expect wellness, because whatever you expect, you will experience. And then thirdly, in the healing process, it's really important that you align your soul through focused intention. Align your soul through focused intention to what elevates you and what makes you feel better. And why is this important? Because you manifest what you think and what you feel. So you have to align your soul through focused intention. And then lastly, healing is all about liberation. It's all about liberating yourself from being attached to the story, to the pain, because you have the power and you have the ability to be able to recreate the story that you tell yourself about the pain. And so I really want to thank you for joining me for the first episode of Living in the Light. It's important that you live in your light. And as you live in your light, give other people the freedom to be able to live in their light, whether that's your child, whether that's your significant other, whether that's your spouse, whether that's your friend, whether that's your students, right? Because we are all individual souls incarnated here to, some find their light, others express their light, so that we can all live in our light. And if you found value in what was shared here with you today, then be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future videos. Now, you go out there and live in your light.